You're gone. You're not part of this anymore. Get out of my frame, girl. Move, move, girl. I will kill you. I will kill you.
Kan inte gå på gräset.
Who said I couldn't? I am like Kratos. Kratos! Arm wrestling was on fire. Actually, arm wrestling is on fire. Now we start this for real. Is this 90 degrees? I think so. So, action. Hello everyone, it's me, Mythos, dripping the lion. So, arm wrestling was on fire, but we do also have good stuff in the arm wrestling world. I don't know how many of you bought the pay-per-view. I hope a lot of you did. It was the greatest, most professional event ever. Like, no Istanbul, no nothing has come close, like at all. Insane. Brian Shaw, he really showed us the way. Alas, controversy. There is somebody who is trying to ruin everything. For every win arm wrestling gets, we have someone trying to hurt arm wrestling. And I think at this point, most of us know who that person is. I don't think that he is alone. He is doing this with other people, obviously. I think it's an organized crime. There is no proof as of right now, but I think they're constantly working with that. But yeah, let's just ignore that for a second. I'll do a set, a bit of warm-up for my arms, and then we're going to talk about every match in the Saw Classic, Strongest Arm on Earth. Let's hit it. First match, I don't remember them exactly. I think it was the Sirey vs Derek match. I didn't try to call all the matches. I had it being more of a battle in my head, but apparently, yeah, Derek was just too much, and Sirey is way too fresh in the sport of arm wrestling. There was a bit of like a seeming stoppage, round 2, for a moment, but then he got opened up way too much, and it was a pin. A very dominant performance by Derek, which I think in the grand scheme of things is good. Sirey is very new, and it's good for the new guys to like lose and learn. And for Derek, if he had lost this match, I don't know what it would have meant for his career. Perhaps he would have switched careers after that. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, love Derek. Keep going. And the second match, I believe it was Pavlov versus Rickard. My memory recollection is not that good because I had a lot of other stuff going on. But before that match, second set. Second match, Pavlov versus Rickard. That match was horrifying to see. So the first round, the young blood, he gets ripped open, straight to the pad, very strong by Pavlov. But then adjustments were made. By that point, we see that they go to the straps, and it looks like a way more interesting match than at first. Rickard hits that top roll stop, and then Pavlov tries to go without having shoulder commitment. It doesn't really work. Rickard blocks it and starts to go on his own attack whilst Pavlov is pressuring up, and something snaps. I don't really know the aftermath of that match. I believe it was bicep, but I'm not so sure. That was one of the most unlucky and unsettling matches of the night. But the show went on. I believe it was Big Loss and Martin. I will not say his last name because I will butcher it. But before that, third set. And actually it's a bit cheating. This is technically the fourth set. I did a set on the intro. Third match, Big Loss versus Martin. That match went as I thought, perhaps a bit more dominant than I was thinking, because Coach Ray had sold me on Martin being like a real quick learner. So I was perhaps thinking that maybe he will be like this kind of Eddie Hall figure, where Brian definitely will have the advantage, in this case Brian being Big Loss, but then there will be like a balance point and the match will be closer than the scorecard would entail. But no, Big Loss too strong, too prepared, straight to the pad 3 times. There was elbow fouls, a lot of elbow fouls from Big Loss. I think the excitement and the hype and perhaps even the tension made him foul multiple times, and one of the times it cost him a round. But otherwise I would say very dominant win, and perhaps Big Loss should try his hand at one of the contestants from that very event. But a bit of that later. Fourth match, Gabriela Vos Canelos versus Jocelyn Bison, I believe. And first, the set. Let's go. If the camera quality keeps getting worse, I'm so sorry. It's getting late here. But yeah, it is what it is. Now let's go. Vos Canelos. Dominant victory. So, Jocelyn, a bit too soon, a bit too quick, too fast, with jumping levels. Egle dominated her and Gabriela pretty much did the same. Although I can say, actually I can say, Gabby was a bit worse. Gabby even let Jocelyn get into her position in a hook. But as many of us already know, Gabby is also pretty good in a hook. So as soon as that happened, it looked completely comfortable for Gabby. And I will say that those 25 years, like she said, they really made this match look pretty bad. On that topic, we have the next match, Devon versus Alex Gudeta. And oh lord, even though it was on the left arm, after the first round, ooh, yeah. So I'll talk about the right and the left, both at the same time later. Because, I mean, it was pretty similar, honestly. Way too similar. I mean, there were differences, but yeah, we'll talk about it later. Let's talk about Matt and Philip after the set. Philip Larson versus Matt Mask. Honestly, I wasn't that surprised about how the match went. I actually was more so surprised that Matt even put up that much of a fight. After what happened to Sandris against Philip, I was like, oh, the Matt Mask match will be bad for Matt. And it was. He's really strong, Philip. And I also believe that Matt Mask, he got a bit way too comfortable with the 105 category, like staying in that. I believe that Matt's frame, it is a bit like Devon's, hard to pack on weight, but at the same time, I believe that if Matt put in a bit more effort and a bit more focus in arm wrestling, he should easily make the 115 category and even more. So that match wasn't really that surprising, but it was disappointing at the same time. Like, I like when Matt wins because he gets so fired up and he has a lot of fire and passion. But I believe that Philip Larson also like deserved the win. He clearly put in the work and he's way more technical than most arm wrestlers at the 2-year mark are. So I'm really impressed and I want to see more from him. Now, on to the next match. I believe it was one of the strongmen, right? Was it Eddie Hall perhaps? Maybe. I jumped a match so I'm confused, but I think it was Eddie Hall. So Eddie Hall versus Robert Edgars. Epic! But before that, shout out Coach Ray for this exercise. Really good exercise for the wrist and the forearms. Next match, Robert Edgars, right? Man, I butchered his name. I hope I said it correctly. Versus Eddie Hall. Really impressed. Like Brian said before in the interviews, Robert Edgars, great talent. Like he worked for a couple of months and his first 2 rounds were really impressive. Very, very impressive. But what impressed me the most on that one was actually Eddie Hall. Even though he did have the longer preparation, Eddie Hall's adjustment from the B side, like letting Robert hit. Is it Robert or Roger? Oh my god, now I feel even worse. I'm so sorry, man. We have too many Roberts and Rogers, and yeah, my mind is all over the place. I think it's Roger. Whatever. So, Roger, he hits, and Eddie Hall catches on the outside, and then he reverses in a top roll, and then he pins without the strap. Really impressive performance by Eddie Hall. And I believe that if Eddie Hall commits to arm wrestling in a year like he says, oh lord, the super heavyweight should really be prepping properly for him coming. And he also said a funny thing about him being skinny, and he's like 160 or 165 kg at the moment. Like, whoa, those are big boys. But yeah, amazing match. Like, it would have been the greatest match in my book if it weren't for the next one. Brian Saw versus the Filthy Strength, the Hype Wrecker, or whatever coach called him, Hype Destroyer. Brandon Allen. So, I thought I'll finish the video here because the mosquitoes were being crazy and the light too dark. So, where were we? Right, Brandon Allen versus Brian Shaw. First of all, God bless Brian Shaw and his wife for not only organizing the arm wrestling event, like our event, and making it like the most quality production we have ever witnessed. The stream, stable. The quality, amazing. The replays, finally viable. Having the referees like call almost everything consistently. Like I don't think there was any missed calls this time, and that's special for an arm wrestling event. Let me tell you that already now. And all around, like the athletes, it was like it has been a long time since all the athletes got together and like looked happy. Arm wrestling has felt really miserable for these past weeks with all this drama going on. So it was a really nice change of pace. And like the whole Brian Shaw team, I hope they can work with East versus West more, and not only annually. Like if they could work with East versus West so we can get this quality and this stability, it will be amazing. On to the match itself. Wow. Wow. I really don't understand why they didn't put Brian Shaw and Brandon as the main event. I mean, it is Brian's event after all, in the Shaw Classic. And then with his speech at the end, it was perfect. It will have been the perfect finisher. Alas, the match itself. The match begins. They go to straps. It didn't seem like Shaw tried to hold on that much. It felt like he didn't make the same mistake as he did with Eddie Hall. This time it felt like he held him for a bit in the middle to like get a feeling of the hand and the wrist. And then he let the slip happen and they went into the straps. And that match, it looked bad for Brian. I thought for a moment after that first round that, okay, this is over. Brandon has that filthy power. But then Brian adjusts. He clamps down on the thumb, something that's unorthodox, but for this particular occasion, it worked brilliantly because Brandon couldn't do anything. I think the only time they got in a strap after that was when Brandon like went for a flop, a quick hit flop, and by that point it landed on Brian's arm, and it wasn't worth fighting that losing battle from that position. So Brian went and slipped, and in the straps it looked like a repeat of the first one, but at that point I believe Brandon was more fatigued than he was when they started the first round, because it looked really comfortable for Brian to just go from the middle, from that awkward, like a bit half open arm position to like the press. And I was really impressed. I was really impressed by like the transitioning element of Brian's game. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. And I hope, I am longing for the moment that everything like clicks in Brian's head, because he will be the train on the arm wrestling table. He will run over arm wrestlers. Really good. Amazing performance by both of the guys, and Brandon really tried to do everything in the book. He was like lifting his elbow to try and reset matches, he was slipping under, he was pressing, he was kings moving, he was doing everything. But Brian was too strong. Insane. Insane. Great match. I loved it. And the aftermath of that match, his speech afterwards, it was so beautiful. And God bless Brian Saw and his wife. His wife, from what I understood, played a enormous part in these events that they made, and she is someone that has supported him for a long time. So great respect to both of them for being fighters, not giving up, and giving the best they've got, no matter what. Thank you, Brian. Great event. And on to the left arm, the party arm. Not so much partying going on anymore. Now it's straight to business arm, but no. The money arm, the real money arm, still has big difference with the left arm, at least on the table. Left arm, it started, and it went about how I thought it would go. Alex got him to the B side, and Devon got very open. And then Alex tried to press, but this surprised me. Devon was a bit more outside the table, I would say. So his king's move, instead of the traditional here and dipping below, so he wasn't really there. He was more so there. And that was insane. I don't know if you could see the difference in the camera. That feels scary. For the top arm wrestlers, I think that's scary. That move, it's legal, and it seems to be putting a lot of pressure on the hand, but it also eliminates a lot of the pressing. Because the pressing, if you are that much far away from your arm, you don't really get any connection with the shoulder. And that's not the only problem. If you try to get the connection, then you have the line, the peg to peg line that you cross. That becomes a real interesting puzzle to solve, and Alex didn't manage to solve it. He was really pumped after that first round, and after that, it was really impressive on the left arm. If I remember it correctly, by the time they went to the third round, it looked like their first match's first round for Devon. He was taking his hand off the go, and then he was switching between inside and outside, and Alex had to foul out. But on the left arm, there was a real nice switch that happened. The match was finished on fouls, and because Devon pushed for it, and because Alex pushed for it, and even the crowd went loud, it didn't end on fouls. They did pull the round. So they resetted the foul that they gave on Alex for elbow being off the pad. And they did the last round, and that was really glorious to see. It was all around domination, and the fight was conclusive. Nothing was left open. They went through all the movements. Money arm. Money arm. Man, I don't even know anymore. I think Devon is... He's more close to Levan than the others are to Devon, if you know what I mean. I believe that Devon right now is the clear second. He made Alex, who's in the top 10, look like an amateur arm wrestler. On the first round, I thought that Alex blew him over, but I watched that again, and it looked like, do you remember the Dave Chaffee match? It looked like when he let Dave Chaffee go to the bottom, and then he reversed from the bottom and went and pressed Dave. I believe it was a press. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how it happened with Dave, but it actually looked like he did the same with Alex. So he let Alex go completely, and he gave him the wrist and everything, and then he just stood there. laughing, nothing. And it wasn't like the Georgi match where every time Georgi surged, you could see him tensing up. No, no, no. He caught him, he tensed up for a moment, then caught him, and then nothing. And he did that crazy move with a with a shirt over the head. That was insane. Insane on the first round. And they had a lot of fouls and stuff. The match restarted and restarted, and it felt like chaos as per usual. Still, I believe the match wasn't that long. Usually the matches are longer when it comes to Devon, but I believe this one might have been 25 minutes at most. And my God, he put on a clinic. I didn't expect anything less, but at the same time, that first round, what he did, it felt a bit crazy. And when he comes back, if indeed he's correct in his assessment, if he can still keep making steps forward, and after he's fast, if he gets healthier and can get even bigger and pack even more quality, I think that after Vitaly, he should stick it, man. I think you should go for Levan after Vitaly. But that's down the road. Devon is currently going to take a break. He said that. And East versus West, the next event will actually take a bit of time. It will be in November. So we're going to have a small commercial break. But I'm guessing we will have a lot of stuff going on. I was about to say a bad word. Because currently, from what I understand, there's like an investigation going on because of what happened with the East versus West website. Some rat from Turkey. Yeah, he fricked with domains. And so now East vs West has an EvW Sports Live. That's where you can watch East vs West 19 again. And the old website is not currently working because of what has transpired. I'm tired. And yeah, there will be a lot of stuff going on. But at the same time, let's try to bath in this glory of the last event. Let's keep fighting for the sports. From this point on, I think after this showing, there will need to be more effort put into everything. And the resistance that the sport gets, I believe, is because now the bar is at way higher to a professional level. And to be held there, a whole lot of more fighting will have to occur. Not only from the athletes, but also the people. The people now will need to be more grounded and involved. So let's keep the good vibes, let's keep fighting, and I'll see you around. Keep getting stronger. Love arm wrestling. And see you around. Cut.